Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today here. You'll have noticed, and if this is the very first time that you're watching this video series, welcome. You will notice that we repeat certain themes here over and over again. Welcome to A Course in Miracles, which it can rightly be said, repeats the same ideas in multiple different ways in a large volume, a combined volume that when you put the text, the workbook for students, the manual for teachers, the clarification of terms, and the two supplements all together totals well over 1,000 printed pages and a lot of scrolling if you're looking at it online. It's a lot. And yeah, the same ideas come up over and over again. So, in this respect, it is not unlike any other spiritual tradition because they all repeat the same ideas. It's worth taking a moment and just allowing ourselves to ask, okay, why would that be? And you may well answer yourself, because I need it. Exactly. See, one of the things that's obvious, but that we choose to ignore, and I'm talking about myself here, I'm talking about all of us, we choose to ignore the fact that we would rather do something else than follow these ideas and put them into practice in our daily lives. We'd rather do anything else sometimes, even though we say that we want the peace of God, and we may very well mean that. Our conditioning appears to be very hardwired and very strong. And we find that our resistance is stubborn and that we're all stubborn adult learners who are very quick to dismiss a presentation of truth and ideas that will lead us home, so to speak, to awakening, to the constant, eternal experience of the peace of God. But while we say we want it, and we may mean well, we go about life in a completely different manner, doing the exact opposite, and it's out of habit. It's out of habitual resistance. And all resistance to truth is of the ego. Every last bit of it. So, how's that for a realistic backdrop? And here we are, studying and practicing this 1,000 plus page thing that is referred to as A Course in Miracles. And it's powerful. Whether you're a long-time student of the course or a beginning student of the course or anywhere in between, or even whether you're not a student of the course at all and you're just checking this out, I invite you to watch this video all the way to the end because there is a message for you from the Holy Spirit, your inner teacher, this part of our mind that will guide us if only we let it. So, the repetitive idea for today is one that you hear all the time on this channel. It's learning to relax and trust the guidance of the Holy Spirit. We have a choice when we go about our business we go about our lives here in the world, we have a choice between seeing things with the ego or seeing things with the Holy Spirit. This is, despite all of the appearances and the appearances of choice and meaningful choice that we have in the world, such as walking down a supermarket shelf and there are 50 different kinds of vegetables. Maybe that's undershooting it, 150. Which one do you get? What are you going to have for dinner tomorrow? And, well, what restaurant are you going to go to this weekend? And there appear to be many, many, many choices. There's one choice. Do you see with the ego or the Holy Spirit? Do you think with the ego or the Holy Spirit? Do you choose fear or love? Do you choose condemnation and blame or do you choose forgiveness? Do you choose dark or do you choose light? You get where we're going with that. That's the choice that we make. And you could, we all can, and are invited to choose with the Holy Spirit, to see and look with the Holy Spirit, and let the Holy Spirit judge every situation that we encounter. The beautiful situations, the painful situations, and all of those situations that appear to be somewhere on a spectrum in between where we're not sure what to make of it because it appears to have some good and bad according to our judgment. But we're invited to let the Holy Spirit judge. His judgment is always the same. The Son of God is guiltless, completely without guilt, and there is no sin. There is only perfect oneness, which, in fact, when you think about it, makes the very idea of sin impossible. See, the idea of sin implies a separation, someone who acts and someone who is offended by that act or omission or stray thought. It implies, by definition, a separation. There is no separation of any kind. That may be the message that the Holy Spirit has for you. And, well, it's been said before right here and will be said, gosh, I don't know, countless times in the days, weeks, months, years, I don't know, decades, maybe, hopefully, to come. Yeah, there is no separation. The idea of sin is impossible. Anyway, God is perfect love. Perfect love does not condemn, it does not blame, nor does it judge. God has no ego to be offended. So we're invited to let the Holy Spirit run the show and then relax and trust and have confidence that our inner teacher knows what we need. And the more that you practice this, the more certain you become, and the more able you are to hear the guidance of the Holy Spirit and recognize clearly that it is, in fact, the Holy Spirit. This is an excellent question that people ask on the path all of the time. And it has been asked right here on this YouTube channel. And we've done several standalone videos about this very topic. And it's, how do I actually know that it's the Holy Spirit that's speaking to me? Which is a great question. So let's talk about it right now. I mean, it's coming up. So, yeah, how do I know? I mean, how do I really, really know it's the Holy Spirit talking to me? Well, for starters, how do you feel? That's always a good gauge. Do you feel a certain clarity, like you've always known? That's an indication that it's the Holy Spirit speaking to you. Does the idea, does the thought, does the suggestion that you do this, say that, go here, don't go here, say this, think this, say this to this person for maximum benefit for every living thing throughout space and time? Just saying. Right? Does that make you feel good or light or happy, joyous, expansive, as in limitless? That's a sign that it's the Holy Spirit speaking to you. On the other hand, if you feel constricted, which is a word that a lot of people like to use, if you feel crumpled up into a ball and strange and, well, anxious, afraid of it, angry, bitter, resentful, if it makes you contract and crumple up into an emotional ball, that is not the Holy Spirit. That's the ego, which speaks very loudly, doesn't it? Saying, yeah, judge that person, judge them. They're wrong. And we have this opportunity to choose every moment of every day. So part of answering this question is this. There are many different ways that the Holy Spirit speaks to us. How it looks on what we call the outside is going to differ. There are many, many ways that the Holy Spirit appears to speak with us. The bottom line, the essence and the meaning of it, the content, to use the language of this course, is that it's the Holy Spirit speaking to you. The content is all the same. The Holy Spirit is always saying the same thing, and it appears in many different ways. Why? There appear to be many of us, and we're convinced we're individual self-sustaining survival units. So we need to be reached where we appear to be, where we're at, which is not really where we are at all. But we think we're here on spinning ball of rock, doing pitched battle with one another, competing with one another for what we deem to be really, really scarce resources that we've made up in our own minds to be limited, limitation, doesn't last forever, very fallible, finite, limitation. Just saying. We think that we're here, so the Holy Spirit meets us where we think we are. There are many ways he speaks to us. It is not necessary, but nor is it actually really even that common that we will hear a voice speaking to us in a language that we understand. That could happen. Often it's an idea. We simply get an idea and it pops into our mind, apparently out of nowhere, with crystal clarity. That's one example. We might get an intuitive hit or a gut feeling, something that we've always known. And deep down inside, we have always known it. Holy Spirit. We may be driving down the highway and see something on a billboard that reminds us of who, what, and where we really are. We may read something in a book, see something on YouTube that reminds us. And We just know because we've always known. It may be something that you look at in nature, like a sunset or a flower, or something that's very, very beautiful, a beautiful mountain or a beach, or waves on the ocean that remind you of your limitlessness as the Christ. So I'm just saying, there are many different possibilities here. So it's not just hearing words in your mind. There are many ways the Holy Spirit reaches us. So what do we do? Well, we show up as best we can, given our hectic, busy lives, which we still live. Yeah, jobs, kids, work, bills, stuff, whatever else you're doing. I mean, all of that. We, as often as we remember to do it, bring our awareness back to our relationship with our inner teacher and relax and trust his guidance because the Holy Spirit knows what's going on. Of ourselves, our plans often blow up on us. I mean, and really quickly sometimes. We can all relate to the experience of orchestrating and manipulating and going over multiple scenarios in our mind to control everything and everyone in situations that have not yet occurred. And we expend ourselves, another verb, waste ourselves in the present moment, fretting and worrying about something that has not yet come to pass and therefore does not exist. And we worry constantly. Similarly, we dwell on the past, what we coulda, woulda, shoulda done yesterday at work, or in an argument that we got into with somebody. Anywhere but the present moment, which is where we choose the Holy Spirit or the ego. The Holy Spirit's judgment is always the same and it's always true. The ego's judgment appears highly varied and leads us right off a cliff, so to speak. And often, when we try to decide things without the Holy Spirit, it blows up in our faces immediately. All of that orchestration and stress that we put ourselves through in our mind to govern, order, and manipulate all phenomena. And our plans blow up immediately. They come to naught. Or if they start to work, it's only temporary before difficulties creep back in and we become dissatisfied with our best laid plans. Any Robert Burns fans out there? Yeah, you know, when we attempt to do everything on our own without the guidance of the Holy Spirit, we can expect to be deeply dissatisfied at some point, possibly immediately, and possibly during the worrisome planning session right then. The Holy Spirit sees our perfect oneness. He doesn't even look at our divisions and gradations and hierarchies, looks right past it. And when we allow ourselves to look past it too, in other words, to see with the Holy Spirit, with the Holy Spirit's vision, with the vision of Christ, when we allow ourselves to see this way, we look past all of the psychodrama too. This is why the practice of true forgiveness is so, so central to A Course in Miracles. In this, we're looking past all of the surface level drama, all of the apparent separation to the truth of who and what our brother really is. And you know who and what that is. You know where he is too, because you're there too. Remember, there is no separation of any kind. We're looking past all of this supposed separation and division to the truth of who our brother really is, as he is right now, and as we are right now, which is wholly and completely at home in God without all of this drama that we're engulfed in, apparently, here in the world. It's a profound and very powerful practice. And our resistance to relaxing and trusting the guidance of the Holy Spirit is very pervasive. It just is. Because we've all been conditioned to think that we're all out for number one here, for ourselves, our own little ego selves. We think we're an ego, we think we're individuals, and we do life accordingly. Yet we have another choice. And you're here on the spiritual path because you've made this choice. You may not have characterized it in exactly the same way as this course does, and as we're talking about here in this video, but you have. You've heard the call of the Holy Spirit, of our inner teacher, to awaken, and you have answered it, and you've answered it a lot more than once. You may not acknowledge that. It's true. You have answered this call multiple, multiple, multiple times. Else you would not be here watching this video amidst all of the other content out there on YouTube, the largest social media platform in the world by a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. And even in the arena of what we call spirituality, there's a lot of stuff. Yet here you are. Hmm. There are no accidents. There are no coincidences at all. You're here for a reason. And part of this is because you've answered this call multiple times. So welcome. And we all thank you for answering that call. Do it again, please, on behalf of every single living thing. This is very powerful. And at first, we may not get that or even freak out about it and be afraid of it. Well, that's part of the path. We can expect resistance. All resistance is of the ego. And we have the opportunity right now in the present moment to choose the ego or the Holy Spirit. And we know the choice that leads us out of the dream and allows us to set the dream of separation aside. So please join me. And by the way, if you have not yet subscribed, please join us here. This is the prompt in the corner of your screen. Click that, hover over that. You'll be invited to join us, and several videos appear every single week. Well, because spirituality is ongoing. The call of our inner teacher is constant, 24 hours a day, goes out to all of us all the time. The question, are we listening? Now, also, I want to invite your questions here. They're most welcome. Spirituality is deep, deep self-inquiry. This course is deep and profound, and questions should arise. And often there are days where we find we have more questions than answers. So if you're finding yourself today in just such a place, please feel welcome to type out a question here in the comment thread on YouTube. I do look at the comments with frequency here, and I will see them. And I'm more than happy to address any of your questions, whether it's in the comment thread or in recording a standalone video or two or three or 20 on the topic. Whatever seems appropriate, that can be a very, very good way to learn. And you never know who is watching because the community is most definitely international. It is. We're here from all over the world. So I thank you for tuning in and for your dedication and commitment to your practice. And I'll see you back again here the next time.